Hello my friends, welcome to another watercolor tutorial. We are painting a poinsettia, I think that's how you pronounce it, for Christmas time, for the holidays. This is the traditional Christmas flower, or at least that's what all the stores sell during Christmas time. This is the flower that you bring to your relatives when you're visiting for the holidays. And I can't believe I haven't painted it yet. I mean, no, it is believable. I don't like painting flowers, so it makes sense, but this is what we're painting today. So let's just get right into it. I'm trying to figure out like what order to do this in. I think it's easier to work from the inside out. Because the inside's going to be a bit lighter than the outside. So I have sketched out my poinsettia. I encourage you to just like look up an image of a poinsettia online and just trace it. That is the easiest thing you can do. Or if you like a challenge, then freehand it. Power to you. So I'm taking this bright red that I have. Trying to figure out how I'm gonna tackle this. So I'll just start with a petal. So we're starting from the inside. So some of these petals are overlapping one another, like these inside guys. And yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is just paint them fully red and then go over the details afterwards. So you're just going to be going petal by petal in the center here. Some of them are touching, some of them aren't. The ones that are touching are going to be a bit more complicated because I want them to be distinct from one another. So I might have to, I'll have to figure something out. Like these two are touching, for instance. Like this one and this one. And make sure you like extend the part touching the middle a little bit towards the center, because we're going to be painting like yellow and black, and if it's white it won't make sense. It won't look very nice. Why does my voice sound so raspy? It sounds like I have a cold coming on or something. I must say, the last while has been so challenging in my life. And I really feel like this is, I brought this upon myself because somewhere, I think just after my daughter was born, my husband and I were like, oh my gosh, what have we done to deserve such an easy life? Such, like everything is going so well. Just life was, you know, really good to us, and then everything started happening. Not everything, because obviously things could be way worse, but there's just been a lot of trials, and certainly having our patience tested and our character is being really worked on. Like you're kind of forced to work on your character during these situations. Anyways, that whole ramble is just to say that our chickens got attacked by a fox yesterday, and the fox unfortunately ended the life of 2 of our chickens, 2 out of the 5. I am blaming myself partially because I was inside. I was doing a phone appointment with a doctor, and I see one of my like 2 or 3 of the chickens running for their lives. And chickens are not the brightest animals, so they do this quite often. They do this at squirrels, they do this at a falling leaf. So I didn't think very much of it, and I just continued on with my phone conversation. 5 minutes later, I go outside because I had to get something from the shed, and I noticed there's no chickens, which that didn't alarm me because they go really deep into our forest sometimes, and sometimes it takes us a while to find them. They always come back at the end of the day to the coop, so it doesn't really matter. But I was just like, okay, I didn't think anything of that. But then I saw feathers everywhere. And that's when I started to worry. That's when I realized I don't have chickens because they're probably not alive. So I kind of followed one of the groups of feathers to the first chicken. That poor thing was just laying in a ditch that we have. I feel so bad. Like I kind of want to start crying right now, just thinking about it, because they must have been so terrified. And I'm just really glad I have a child, because if this had happened last year before my baby was born, I think I would have cried for many days, because last year, actually, when I was pregnant with my daughter, one of our chickens, believe it or not, it's a squirrel injured a chicken. And she was limping, and I cried for days. She recovered completely, but yeah, if this had happened back then, where like our chickens died, then I think I would have lost it. Probably, you know, hormones, pregnancy hormones had something to do with that, but I was surprised at how calm I was about the situation. I was still devastated. I was still really, really sad. So anyway, this was the first chicken, and I was like, oh boy, let's go try and find 4 of the others. And so I found another group of feathers, but this group, I couldn't find the chicken. I didn't look that hard because I was carrying my daughter, and I was just thinking, like, there's so many mosquitoes right now. But then I heard crows in the distance, in our forest, like pretty close, but kind of far. And I was thinking, okay, the only time I ever hear crows or turkey vultures kind of making so much noise in our forest, or anywhere really, is when there's a dead animal, because they're scavengers, so they'll eat the dead meat. So I was like, all right, let's go into this forest. Let's follow the crows, see where they lead me. And as I was walking further and further, and like we have quite a few acres, so I walked for a few minutes, and I saw a fox in the distance running off, and the crows were kind of following it. So I was like, okay, well, it's probably not really safe for me to be in this forest with my baby with a fox running around. So I just turned around, but at least I had the confirmation that, you know, it was a fox, it wasn't a raccoon. Although now I've been told that if it was a raccoon, you would know, because the chickens wouldn't just like politely be laying there unalive. They would be dismembered. But anyways, I'll get back to that story in a moment. So back to this. Ouch. Sorry. We have to do a few things with this, but I'm tempted to let this dry first before I do anything. Like, we're going to be using white and like a slightly darker, maybe like a maroon, to create those creases in the leaves, because we don't want it to look as flat as it does at the moment. So I'm just thinking, you know what, I'll just do it now, because I can't do the second layer until these ones dry anyways. And it's okay if it's a little bit wet while I do this. So I'm just taking white watercolor, although I might end up using acrylic paint, depending on how opaque this ends up being. But yeah, so the side of the leaves, I'm just painting white. just a side note before I get back into the main story, I just thought of this and it's very exciting for me. But in my village, we have this Saturday market that runs every Saturday throughout the summer. And we typically would buy a sourdough loaf from this one lady at the market that was there every week. And she's lovely, she's really nice, and her sourdough is delicious. I make my own sourdough, but my husband has been very honest and said that hers is out of this world, and I would agree. Mine's really dense and I can't figure out why. But anyways, we just found out that this like random location in the village that was sold was like, she bought it and she's opening up a sourdough bakery and pizza joint, which is so exciting because, you know, I love pizza, but pregnancy ruined most pizza for me. I ate it once and I felt very sick after, not because of the pizza, but just because of pregnancy hormones. And so now most pizza, unless it's like a gourmet, I can't eat it. But like wood oven baked pizza is my weakness. I can still eat it. It's still so divine and delicious. And I can't wait until she opens up. That is going to be definitely a nice treat. Finally, a place in our village that I would be comfortable eating at. I am probably what people call a crunchy mom. I don't eat out at restaurants almost ever because all I can think about is, oh, I wonder if they wash that lettuce properly. I wonder if those tomatoes are organic. There's probably a bunch of glyphosate on them. And I just can't enjoy my meal. So I cook from home exclusively. I even have trouble eating at like friends' houses because for the same reason. I know that their food is probably not organic and I just have trouble eating anyway. But I have talked to her at the market and she does use organic flour, so it's glyphosate free. Life is good. I'm very excited to finally have a place that my husband and I can go have a date night in town and I can actually enjoy the food. Because previously, like, there was nowhere for us to eat because I'm so picky. God bless my husband who puts up with my shenanigans. Okay, so this white has really faded. It's not really doing what I want it to. I'm sure that once the red dries, we can go over it again, but for now I'm just gonna blow dry this so we can continue on the next layer. Okay, so this should be dry. I'm gonna go on to the next layer, and this is gonna be darker than the one that we used for that top one. So I'm gonna you can take black and add that to your red, like the same red that you use. I'm also adding a bit of maroon in addition to the black. We can always color adjust later, it's not too big of a deal. And I just want to be mindful of which leaves are going to be green. So what I'm gonna do is just take a paintbrush, and I think it was this one that's green, and this one that's green, and this one that's green, just so I don't paint those ones red. All right, so hopefully those leaves are dry. Otherwise, this is gonna not work out for us because we have to get really close in there. I mean, technically we could leave a little white gap. It would probably look pretty nifty if we did that. And make that a little bit wider. Where was I in my chicken story? I was jumping so much. Oh, I think I was, okay, at the fox, where I saw the fox in the forest. So at that point, I think I called my husband and I told him the bad news. and he was leaving work, so it was going to be an hour before he got home. And he got home. I have to filter some of what I'm going to say right now because I don't know if it's appropriate for this for YouTube. So all I'm going to say is that he went into the forest prepared, and he did not find no, he did. He said he did see the fox. He did see the fox. So we assumed that one of the chickens was at least one of the chickens was with the fox. Obviously, like, why would he kill a bunch of chickens and then just leave without any? I don't know the behaviors of wildlife. So, one chicken, I was looking out the window and one chicken just appeared by our deck alive. So I was really, really excited, and I quickly grabbed her and put her in the run, closed the run, and my husband found a second dead chicken. And we were like, all right, so that's 3 chickens accounted for. And then he kept looking. He took a treat bag because we have these grubs for the chickens, and we use them as, I don't want to say bait, but like if we want to put them in the run and it's not the end of the day where they would typically go in by themselves, we just grab this treat bag and we kind of jostle it around, and the sound, they come running like dogs or like cats for catisfactions or whatever. And so he did that, and he found another chicken alive. It just came out of, it was almost at the neighbor's house, which the neighbor's house is like 100 feet away. So it really, the fox must have really spooked this chicken into the depths of the forest. But it came, so 2 alive chickens and 2 dead ones were accounted for. And then, you know, my husband walked around and looked around and couldn't find the last one, so we just assumed that the fox took it, right? Because why would, like I said, why would it come, do a bunch of destruction, and then leave its food on? I've heard some animals, they're not ferrets, but they're like wild ferrets. I forget what they're called. These aggressive wild ferrets. There's a name for them. But they just take out chickens for the fun of it. I don't think they eat them. That may not be true, so don't listen to me. But I think that's what I've heard. And so, yeah, that was a really sad evening. And then later on, so this was, I don't know, like 7 p.m. at this point, and then I look out the window, and there is the last chicken, alive, hobbling, visibly scarred, but alive. And so my husband quickly ran out and grabbed her, and she was like either very injured or very traumatized or both. We still don't know, so we put her in a box in the shed, so that she could just rest and have her own food, have her own water, because chickens are kind of ruthless in the pecking order, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I'll explain in a moment, but one of the bullies, one of the 3 chickens that survived, is like the biggest bully. And she has previously literally eaten this last chicken. This last chicken is also the one that was injured by the squirrel and was like wobbling around last year. This chicken has been through a lot. Poor girl. But what was I gonna say? We didn't want to put an injured chicken in the run with this bully because they are ruthless and they will finish off the job for the fox, basically, if they're bored enough. So we put her in the box in the shed, and I went to check on her this morning. Her head was poking out of the box. I'm a little nervous. My husband left the shed open and he put cattle fencing kind of around the door just so that the chicken would have some light, but that cattle fencing is just resting against the shed. That would be no work for a fox to knock over and take the chicken. So as soon as I'm done this painting, I'm gonna go close the shed probably, because I think the chicken would rather be in the dark and alive than you know, the opposite. So all of that is to say, it's been a very difficult few months. 2024 has been quite challenging, I would say. It has been a year of tests, and I am so grateful that I have my husband through all of this, all that life throws at us. Like, oh my gosh, and then last night my daughter just wouldn't. She just cried all night long. Like, you'd hold her and she'd cry even more. My hip started hurting, in addition to all the other physical ailments that seem to have plagued me the last few months. It's like, God, I know I said my life was easy, but give me a break. And I'm not saying this because I want to complain. That's not my intention. I'm just trying to make conversation here. Fill in the silence. Ow. I really don't know what's wrong with my hip. I trust that next year will be easier for us. I've already kind of written off 2024. Although, okay, this isn't relevant because this might be the last video or one of the last videos of 2024. So you're going to be like, oh, it's not that far off. I'm filming this in May, people. So we haven't even gone through half the year yet. And I'm already experiencing all these trials. I'm kind of going in with that dark. I'm just using the darkness to separate some of these so that was what else can I tell you guys about? There's a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't talk about because I don't want to say things prematurely before they're confirmed, completely unrelated to painting. But I am sure that when things are a little bit clear, I will definitely be talking about it, because man, if things move forward, then there's going to be a lot to talk about. Which I guess by the time that everything is done, like I won't be filming while things are happening, so I guess I won't be talking about those things a lot because I won't be filming until things are done. Riveting, Julia, riveting, truly. So today is it finally feels like summer is near. The black flies only lasted 2 weeks maybe. I'm always surprised at how quickly they kind of move on, or maybe the dragonflies just take them out. But either way, I'm very happy because they are something else. They are a pest. They are not fun. So now that I've done all of the red petals, I'm just filling in these white gaps, because we don't want all these white gaps. And then we still have to do our green leaves, of course. So I'm gonna just really quickly, so that it can dry, I'm gonna pick up some yellow and just dab that center part, and then we're gonna deal with it once it dries a little bit more diligently. So, okay. So we have two options. We can do the green leaves, or we can first do the details on these leaves. What I'm gonna do first, I should have done this while I was painting each leaf, is the ones, like the parts of the leaves that are closest to the red, they should be a tad bit darker. Like all of this should be way darker. So, I don't know if I may have already talked about this. I have filmed, I think, 25 video tutorials in the last 2 weeks. So everything's sort of blending together. But it was Mother's Day last Sunday, and my husband told me that he really wanted to get me this vase that I've been talking about. Yes, I did talk about this, but I don't think we got to the conclusion, or maybe we did. Point is, we drove 30 minutes to the closest, like, bigger town and to buy this vase off of Marketplace. It ended up being massive. It was totally not what I thought it was, so we kind of drove 30 minutes for no reason because I did not buy it. But then I ended up finding exactly what I wanted online, so it worked out, and it arrived yesterday. It looks beautiful. All the lilacs are in bloom, so I picked some lilacs and just popped them in the vase, and my homesteading dreams are just further flourishing. So, okay, let's see. We have to now define our leaves, and I'm like, should I wait until this dries a bit? Let's see if we can paint this before it has dried. So you're gonna paint a line extending from, obviously don't paint over the lighter part like this. We'll do that separately. But just have a line extending from the bottom to the tip of the leaf. Try and have it follow a natural angle. Like, don't just make it straight, because that probably wouldn't look the best. And then add these little lines coming off of it, the veins, whatever you want to call them. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm glad I did that while it was still wet because it ended up looking quite nice, I think. So on that note, since it's still wet, I'm going to take white watercolor. I may regret this decision, but I do want to not frost the tips because that's not my intention here. I do want to just lighten the tips a tad. I thought this was gonna look a little nicer than it is. Rinse my brush, try to blend that in a little bit so it's not as harsh. It did not end up looking how I wanted it to look, so. But now that the lighter red layer is dry, I am gonna go back with like a whitish pink. And I'm gonna try and do what I did the first time. So that looks pretty nice, I think. We can go in with that same kind of darker color that we used for this one, but watered down quite a bit. And I'm just gonna add those same veins to these inner leaves. Try to do it as thin as you can. And you definitely don't want it very dark. That's why I'm saying water it down if you can. Of course you can. I like it. I like how that looks. Okay, so the grand finale. We still have to do something with the center here, but I don't think it's completely dry yet, so I'm just going to focus on the outer leaves. So these leaves are like this really nice green. It's not like this kind of yellowy green that I typically use. So I'm trying to get the right combination. I don't have a name for you, my friends. I know somebody's gonna ask. I don't have the name. I'm just taking all the random greens I have, which I do not know the names of, and I am mixing them together until I come up with a concoction that seems to look like what I want it to look like. So then I'll start with this one up here. No, I'm gonna start with this one. Just trying to think in terms of I'm right-handed, where am I least likely to smudge something? So I'm being a little more careful this time because I'm not working with like another red. When I was doing the second layer of the leaves, it was still red, so if I kind of went over something, it was fine. But now I'm working with green, so I'm being more careful. I'm gonna do this one up top next. There's a hair or something up here. I just lifted off a little bit of paint because it was darker than I wanted it to be. And you can do that very easily by dipping your, like rinsing your brush so there's just water, and then dabbing it on a paper towel so that it's dry and has the ability to pick up extra paint. Okay. Now we have to add some extra to this, to the green leaves as well. So I'm taking black, mixing it in with my green. Ooh, I like it. You know it's a good day when I paint a flower and I like how it looks. At least it's a good day for me. All right, while those green leaves are drying, I'm gonna switch gears and move to that middle portion of the flower. I'm taking black watercolor, and I don't know what these are. I'm pretty sure these are on a poinsettia, but they're like these black things coming from the center. Anyway, it's on the reference photo I'm looking at, so that's why I'm painting it. Instantly makes the center look a lot better, in my opinion. Now we have to wait for that green to dry. I'm gonna blow dry it, and then we'll add the veins to the green. So that should be dry. Now I know we were gonna do the veins on the green, but I just wanna go over the ones on the second layer of our whoops, wrong way. Because they faded a little bit when they dried. That's better. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up that white watercolor, and we want to be a little bit more subtle with the green. See, you can actually hardly see it, so I should probably do it again. Because when it dries, it'll most likely be even harder to see. Okay. Okay, so that is our poinsettia, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll be sure to see you in the next tutorial.